Thank you for joining me. This is Yoga with Carol. We're going to start in corpse pose, in a supine position. Arms relaxed by our side. Legs extended to the far corners of the mat. We have a natural curve in our lower back. A little space there between the mat and the lower back. And place our hands on the chest and belly, or the belly, or even just the rib cage. Breathe into the belly. Just let it all go, releasing any tension and tightness of the day. Breathing into the belly, feel the hand rise if it's on the belly. Extending the arms overhead for a full body stretch. Move the feet and hands. Come back into corpse pose. Notice how your body feels. Try to stay with that feeling, how you feel, your breath. Now let's roll over onto our tummies into a prone position for Sphinx pose. Elbows underneath our shoulders. And pump our feet a few times. We want to lengthen through the crown of the head up towards the sky. Open the collarbones. Fingers open wide. Gently press your shoelaces and fronts of your legs in the mat. Really lengthen here through the spine. And breathe. And let's transition to all fours, or quad position, knees hip width apart under the hips, wrist underneath the shoulders. Gently tap the shoelaces on the floor. Bring one knee into the chest and extend behind you, activating the core. Hips even, so you really want to lower that hip of the extended leg. I'm on my right, so maybe just your right leg. Start with your right. And just some pulses here. Activating the glutes. Cores engaged, again lifting the navel in towards the spine. And then we're going to take that right leg over to the left and then look over the left shoulder for a nice little C curve to the spine. Breathe. And return. Set back in child's pose just for a moment. Back to all fours, and we're going to do the same thing on the left leg. Extending the left leg, knee to the chest, and then extend behind. Exhale, and inhale, extend. Again, both hips even. Exhale, inhale, and then a few little pulses, 6 or 7. And slowly move that left leg over to the right. Look over the right shoulder, C curve. To the right. Nice stretch on the left side of the body. All the way to the feet. Breathe. Coming back to all fours. Gently set the hips back to the heels in child's pose. Walk the fingers up towards the top of the mat. We're going to come into a seated position. I'm going to come to the edge of your blanket or blocks, sitting in a cross-leg position. Bring the bottoms of the feet together and seated and bound butterfly. Now you don't have to bind your feet as I do. We're going to flutter our wings a little bit. And a nice stretch through the adductors, the inner thighs. The chest open, drop the left ear to the left shoulder, releasing any neck tension. Shoulder tension, semicircle over to the other side. Right ear to right shoulder. And extending one leg for extended single leg hamstring pose, or this is a half butterfly. Using the blocks to support the hands and arms. They're optional. Flex the foot, the right foot, and hinge at the hip. Just hinge forward towards me until you feel a nice stretch at the back of the right leg. Breathe. Slowly release. Lift the left knee for bound single leg seated twist. Gently place that left arm underneath the left leg, right hand at the hip, and rotate, look over the right shoulder. Opening the heart, lengthening up through the crown of the head towards the sky, and gently pressing that right heel away from your body. Rotation is good for the spine. And slowly return. And let's bring that right leg in for half butterfly. Hinge forward, keeping the chest open. Gently press the left heel away from your body and lengthen. And breathe. Stay with the feeling, your breath. Slowly release. And now for that twist, hug the right leg with your right arm, left hand at the hip. Look over that left shoulder, opening the heart and lengthening through the crown of the head. Slowly release. Come back to cross-leg position, placing the blocks under the knees. Chin to chest, A nice little stretch of the back of the neck, head and shoulders, the upper back. And ear to shoulder again. Now we're going to extend one arm, the opposite arm. Breathe. Releasing any tension, tightness in the upper body here. As the lower back, the lower body just relaxes on the blocks. Other side, extend the opposite arm. Itch your nose, haha. Release. And take the head side to side, release out any remaining kinks. Now we're going to lift the chin up. And a nice stretch through the chest, the front of the neck. We'll open the palms. This is a great stretch for posture. Open up there. Interlacing the fingers, press the palms out towards me. And then rotate to one side. That feels good. The other side, feel it stretch through the shoulders. And then take it overhead. And to the side. Nice side stretch. Really want to root and ground the hips here. Root from the hips up towards the sky. And release. Interlacing the fingers behind the back now. Lift the arms towards the sky as you open the heart. Maybe a slight lift to the chin. Breathe. And release. Notice how you feel. We're going to get another side stretch. Lengthen. Breathe into the open space here. Sitting bone is rooted as you extend towards the sky, that reach towards the sky. Slowly release. Now transitioning over to the other side. So just take a brief moment to notice how you feel. Reaching up and over. Breathing into the open space, really lengthening through the side of the body. Sit bone rooted and grounded. Always moving upward, heavenly in most of our poses. Reaching, lengthening, extending the spine. All about the spine. Notice how you feel. Let's go ahead and transition. Set your blanket aside, or blocks. Come to all fours. And then push up into downward facing dog. keeping the knees bent. That feels better on the lower back. Heels go earthbound. Hips go heaven-bound. You pump the heels out if that feels good. Alternating. Just about what feels good here. The backs of the legs. And rise up on the toes. Lifting the heels and then gently pressing the heels towards the earth. Okay if they don't touch. It's just that they're moving towards the earth. Getting a nice stretch in the back of the legs. And walk the feet up towards the hands into a forward fold briefly. Let the head and neck and shoulders relax. Arms relax. We can cross them or fold them. Let the arms hang. Rock back and forth. Find your center. And slowly roll up one vertebra at a time, stacking the vertebra one by one till we come up to mountain pose. And open the palms forward. Rooted and grounded through the feet. Now lift the crown of the head towards the sky. Knees soft. Breathe. Pelvis is in neutral, not tipped forward or tipped back. Neutral spine. Inhale the arms overhead. And exhale into chair. Knees are even. So one knee's not further out than the other. Inhale and then exhale back into chair. Inhale, rise. Exhale back into chair. Shoulders down and away from the earlobes. Crossing the arms at chest. That feels more comfortable on the arms, or have them in prayer. I'm going to twist to the right. That right elbow does not have to go beyond the right thigh. It's too intense. Rise up a little bit. And lengthen here. Keep the palms at the center of the chest. Inhale, rise. Get a nice extension to the spine as we reach back. Bring the hands back in prayer into chair. And twist to the left slowly. Now, standing in place, I'm going to move a little bit. We're going to bring our hands together, index fingers pointing up, the other fingers are bound, and lean to one side for half moon pose. You can look up towards the sky. Breathe into the open space. Inhale and exhale over to the other side, half moon pose. Reach the index fingers away from you. Look up towards the sky. Breathe. And slowly release. Lengthen, extend here before slowly bringing the palms together in prayer and releasing arms by our side. A few shoulder circles back, a few shoulder circles forward as we prepare for Warrior One. Just feel our bodies. How do you feel? Feel any differently than when we began? As we prepare for Warrior One, the right foot's forward, the left foot is back. Foot turned about a 45 degree, the right foot's at a 90 degree. The right knee bends over the right ankle. Hips are forward, and we extend both arms towards the sky in Warrior One. Gently bring that right hip forward and left hip. Main thing, you want your hips even here. Let's lift the left heel as we prepare for Warrior Three, for our balance pose. Bring that right hip down now. Again, keeping that spinal hip alignment. Place the left foot back on the earth. Warrior One. Warrior Two pose. Arms extend by our side. We can look down that right arm. Reach the fingertips away from each other. As we prepare for triangle, we're going to extend the right knee and then bring the right hand to the right shin, thigh, ankle, or floor. Left arm extends straight up towards the sky. We want to lengthen here through the side of the way, especially the right side. Bend the right knee, back into Warrior Two. Back towards the top of the mat in Warrior One. Hands flow towards the earth. Step back into Downward Facing Dog. Any movement here that feels good. Bring the left foot forward now. Right foot turns at a 45. Left foot at a 90. Warrior One on the other side. Gently bring that right hip forward. Lift the right heel now as we prepare for Warrior Three. And balance on that left leg. Gently bring that right hip down. Press through the right heel. Breathe. Find your balance. Right foot back to the earth, Warrior One. Turn towards me, Warrior Two. Now extend the left leg as we prepare for triangle on the other side. Reach the left fingers towards the top of the mat. Now take it to the shin. Right arm extends straight up in the air. And lengthen, especially through the left side of the waist or body. Breathe. That left hand is light on the leg, ankle, or floor. Bend the left leg back into Warrior Two. Transition to Warrior One. And slowly take the arms down to the earth into Downward Facing Dog. Any movement here that feels good. Pumping the heels. Shifting the hips side to side. Noticing how you feel after our standing poses. Extending the right leg now towards the sky for a single leg hip circles. My foot is hitting the wall, so I have some limited range of motion, but really want you to find your range of motion here, circling the leg in the hip. Returning, we'll do the same thing on the other leg. Extend the left leg now, bend the knee, open up the hip, some gentle hip circles, clockwise and counterclockwise. And return to downward facing dog. Notice how your hips feel. And walk your hands towards your feet, towards your hands into forward fold. Slowly rise one vertebrae at a time till the head's last to come up. Release the arms by your side. And notice how you feel in mountain pose. Breathe. Let's come into a wide leg stance. A block or two will be helpful into a wide leg forward fold pose. Hinging at the hip, let the arms rest on the blocks. You can stack the blocks. So high, low, medium, wherever you're at. Just relaxing the hands and arms on the blocks as we hinge at the hip, lower the chest towards the earth. You shift the hips from side to side here. Really get into the adductors and the hips. Breathe. I'm going to shift to the left. Right hand on the blocks, and then extend the left arm straight up towards the sky. Nice deep breaths here. Lower the left hand to the blocks. We'll do the same thing other side. Shift the hips to the right. Left hand in the center on the blocks. Extend the right arm towards the sky. And breathe. We'll take the right arm back to the blocks and just fold here. And again, you can keep shifting your hips, just whatever feels good. Might can fold just a little bit deeper after that little hip opening. Slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Inhale the arms overhead into goddess pose, bending the knees over the ankles. Open the heart here. We're going to go into eagle arms. Cross one arm on top of the other. Bend the elbows and take the fingertips up towards the sky. Goddess pose with eagle arms. Feel a nice stretch of the upper back. Now uncross. Inhale the arms overhead. Cross the other arm on top. Bring the palms together, bend the elbows, fingertips towards the sky. Eagle arms on the arms crossed in the other direction. Release. Inhale the arms overhead. Open the chest. Palms facing me. Hands on the thighs. I'll walk the feet in, toe heel it in. and hip circles. Just release those hips. Both directions. Shift side to side if that feels good. And back to the mat. Or for me, back to the mat. Come to the top of your mat. Inhale the arms overhead and fold forward. Inhale, flat back, hands on shins or thighs. Exhale, fold forward. I'm going to step back into a high plank pose for a little core work. I try to always include a little core work in my yoga practice. Feel free to drop the knees if the high plank is a little too much for you right now, depending on where you're at. I'm going to stay tall. Really push the hands gently into the mat. Push away from the mat. Lift the hips slightly so not sinking down. Shoulder blades in neutral. Heels lifted. And drop the knees. Chaturanga to a prone position or on your bellies. Arms relaxed by your side with the palms up for locust pose. I've got a couple of options here in locust. You can just lift the arms. You can lift the legs and arms. You can just lift the legs. Just showing you a couple of options here in locust, but lengthen here. Extend the spine out through the crown of the head. Open the chest as you reach your fingertips towards your feet. Depress the shoulders away from the ears. And slowly release, keeping the forehead on the floor or grabbing that blanket or block for support. We're going to reach both arms overhead, gently pressing the pelvis down into the earth. Extend the right arm overhead and left leg lifts up and back. And then we're going to alternate for our prone spinal balance. Opposite arm leg extensions. This is wonderful for the spine, strengthening the core. We're going to do about 9 or 10. Reach and lower. Reach and lower. Feel all your back muscles contract. Reach and lower. And so on and so forth. If it feels more comfortable, you can lift the head as you rise, or we can just keep your forehead on the blanket or mat. So important to have a strong back, which is part of our core muscles. Reach, exhale, inhale. Reach and return. Let's transition onto our backs in a supine position. Head resting on the blanket, or we can move the blanket away as we prepare for bridge pose. Bend the knees, take the feet about a foot distance from the hip width apart, arms relaxed by our side, palms down. Let's take a few moments to notice how we feel. Now let's lift the hips towards the sky in bridge pose. Another good core pose. I'm going to cross the right shin over the left thigh and then go back into bridge pose. And of course, you can do the figure 4 hip opener, reaching through the middle, or just stay right there in that bridge with figure 4 pose. This just brings on a little more intensity, the legs in the air. And place the left foot back on the floor, right foot, then cross the left shin over the right thigh, rise up in bridge, figure 4, stay there, or bring the hips back down, weave the hands through the center of the legs, and bring the knees towards the chest. One of my favorite poses for hip openers. Breathe. The right foot comes back to the floor, left foot to the floor. We're going to pendulum the knees side to side, just releasing the lower back, the hips. Do as many as feel good. And extending both legs to the far corners of the mat for Shavasana or corpse pose. And I'll leave you here. Namaste.